Good afternoon, everybody. Interview number 2 today, right? I have a very, very special guest that is my go-to website expert. Let me just go through this all. She is the membership alchemist who builds amazing membership websites and teaches the business of recurring revenue to help coaches. Don't we all love that? Yeah. Consultants, authors also, and leverage their expertise with one-to-many membership and online course profit models. Pam Carpenter also helps positive-minded entrepreneurs create successful, sustainable, recurring revenue systems in their businesses. She builds businesses, facilitates relationships, and fosters effective businesses and personal communications for entrepreneurs and small to mid-sized businesses. That's a whole mouthful for me to read out, but I'm going to tell you she has all the expertise to back that up. So, big round of applause and welcome, Pam Carpenter.
Hi, how are you doing? I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
I'm doing great, but before we go any further, do you want to tell everybody about your big news? You don't have to.
I don't know what news.
Didn't you have some big news today?
Oh, yeah, it's not cancer.
It's not cancer.
Best news ever.
Yeah, it's not cancer. So that's a big,
I have never been happier to hear a sentence in my life.
Yeah, isn't that something?
Yeah.
Because you do that time. Well, we're going to get to the website thing in a little bit. But the biggest chunk of time is it feels like a lifetime between when they come in and go, "Ooh, we found something."
Mm-hmm.
To now you have to meet with all these things and you with the oncologist and and all this stuff, and they're taking tests, and all the while you're going, sweating bullets, you're thinking all that, and then all of a sudden you get that and you're like,
yeah.
You hear the harps playing, the angels singing, you hear all that good stuff.
Absolutely. And, and it's very much like business, though, when we all, we struggle, we wait, we throw stuff at the wall, wait to find out what sticks. And then when something finally goes right, yeah. And this was a whole lot like that.
Yeah.
Only
that says hallelujah. 1,000 times more. There you go. That's so, yeah. Anyone that's gone through this knows what we're talking about. So, yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's right up there with having a child. Congratulations.
Yes. Oh, I'm a lot happier about not having kids. I'm old.
The birthing process is less painful, I hope.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, all right. We'll segue right back into, so it's like birthing a website.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah. I tried
so many people struggle so much with tech. So, if you put that in a framework for them about how so-and-so said to use Kajabi and somebody else said to use Gravity Forms for this and Thrive Quizzes for this and Infusionsoft for that and Active Campaign for this. Yeah. And there's so much noise. And the bottom line, and I'm probably not actually supposed to say this since websites are my thing. Tech is my thing. It's what I do. But whatever helps you move the needle today, not tomorrow, because tomorrow's a mythical place. It doesn't even exist. Yeah. Once we then it's today, and tomorrow slips away again. So whatever helps you move the needle today and start right now, do that, and don't worry about it. And I think a lot of us are guilty too with it's a beautiful distraction. It's a really nice wrapped up in a gift box that says, "Oh, I can't." And you can insert whatever verb right there. I can't blank because I don't know what software to use. My website isn't ready yet. My branding isn't on point. I don't have the right headshots. My autoresponder doesn't work like that. This is a Weber and I'm using Constant Contact. So it's a beautiful ready-made excuse to keep us from stepping into our own greatness too.
Mm-hmm. It is. There's a ton of there's a ton of different programs that are out there, and they're all going to tell you how theirs is better than the other person's, better than the other one, and this one and that. And some of the most simple websites have like one phrase on them, may or may not have a picture of the person, and it's just a click through, right? And then they get an email address, they get a name, the person gets a free ebook or something or other out of it, and it's like, and they generate more clients per day, per month than the most complicated systems.
Exactly. Well, and I think we all get lost too because it's our website. So obviously my picture needs to be on my website, right?
Yeah, yeah.
No, because unless, you know, for coaches, it's a little bit different. Authors, yes, we want to see them, but if their work's fantastic, that's not essential, really. You're right that what is there, and ideally, you don't even have to give them anything. If you've done the first step right, which is that call to action and get them to opt in, what you really want, highly qualified leads, are people who are raising their hand to hear about what you're selling, to consume your marketing message.
Yeah.
So that's like in the ideal situation. And that right there is the difference between having a business and having an online brochure that's a website.
Yeah.
So you're exactly right. Simplicity always wins.
And do you think so? If someone, and we're talking membership websites, because that's where you're the guru of it. You're the go-to person for that. Do you think, does a person need their own website, or can they just have a membership website?
I actually have a platform that combines both of those things, but what I recommend is that you have one domain, one place that one umbrella that you stand under, which is interesting because I'm outside and I'm sitting under my one umbrella right now, but because life celebration needs to happen outside.
Exactly.
Right? But when they have that one website, so if it's, I have mydomain.com, and then my membership site should be hers.mydomain.com. What that does, a lot of people think it's just a change in the name, but it's really not. What it is like building a wall. It's the wall between your kitchen and your living room in your house. So they're both in the same house, but you can't get from one room to the other if you're in a box. Mm-hmm. So it protects everything on the membership installation. It isolates that from the things on your personal website, so that if one of your tires goes flat, both of them are not flat. And you can, it's not just a nice way to organize content and keep everything lightweight and moving quickly. It's also a way to make sure that you don't end up on the side of the proverbial business road with 2 flat tires and all of your stuff down. Like for me, I would rather my membership site go down for a few hours than my lead generation site.
Yeah.
Because the people who are in my membership already, they already know me. They already trust me. They already know that I deliver. But prospects, when they come and they find a 404 error or something is broken, especially, and I'm totally guilty of being the plumber with leaky faucets because I devote my time to working on other people's stuff.
Yeah.
And
and do you so walk us through what that would look like as far as having those two.
Yeah, just pick up a domain. You'll have a domain that you have through GoDaddy. If you have a website already, you have a domain. Yeah. You may have your domain sitting on a third-party software like Kajabi or Teachable or Thinkific, whatever. But if you want it on your own platform and you're going to have that sitting on WordPress, is create a subdomain, and that kind of just puts your membership site right underneath, and you can call it whatever you want. It doesn't matter. I do have clients who have completely separate domains. They call their membership a club or something like that.
Sure.
So it's completely separate and isolated, but you don't have to get that fancy with it.
Gotcha. If someone doesn't have their website now, can they start a membership website and then
work
it backwards that way? Or
yeah, They can just start the one site and just have the login area that is there, so that it's a membership plugin is how it works on WordPress, and
Okay.
it acts as a gate, and people who have paid you have a key to that gate, their login credentials, and that's it. Yeah, I don't think anybody should let anything keep them from starting, including content, because content seems to be the thing that has people running for the hills. It's the content, it's the content, it's the content. And
Right.
how am I going to create enough content, and how am I going to keep bases, and how much time? And the fact of the matter is, and this is, if you're watching this and you have a pen and a piece of paper, write this down, tape it to your wall. This is the best piece of membership advice you'll ever get. Nobody is paying you for content. They're paying you for results. How you deliver those results is what matters. If you can tell me what time it is in 3 seconds, I need to know what time it is. I would rather you tell me in 3 seconds than spend 6 months of my time telling me how to build a clock.
Mm-hmm.
And your client, especially when you're in coaching, you co-create results with your clients. So we lose sight of that sometimes because we jump on the membership bandwagon. I have clients who are very successful. I have a successful membership that has no content at all, none. I never deliver content, 0. And nobody cares because they're not paying me for that. What they're paying me for is to keep their websites up and running.
Yeah.
And that's that is the content of the membership site. That's the result. So I have clients who are coaches and consultants who are very successful. They don't have pre-created content. They do everything live, and then they put the recordings of that content into a group. And you can start a membership that way in an hour. Go decide what you're going to do, write down an outline, and sell it. This is, whatever your zone of genius is, your signature system, package it up into a 6 to 8 week live class and sell it. I think you should sell everything before you create it.
Mm-hmm. I'm a big believer of that too.
Yeah. And you get real-time feedback that way too.
Exactly.
I might think that you need to know A, B, or C about tech. You might not care. That might not be your thing. And it might be something that we get to at J, exactly what I needed. Well, then if I see that over and over with client after client, A, B, and C are going in the garbage because it's a distraction. And we have enough of those already.
Yeah. Yeah. We create enough of those already, don't we?
Exactly.
We create all those obstacles for us to overcome.
Yep.
So walk us through what a membership site does beyond. Everyone's like, right now, it's like, you got to have a membership site. You got to have a membership site. And they all talk about how, as a means to generate income.
Mm-hmm.
But there's more kind of to it than that, isn't it?
Sure. Yeah. Gosh, absolutely. I am one person. So I do some very high level one-on-one recurring revenue consulting. If I depended on that for all of my income, I would max out. There's a hard income cap because there are only X number of hours in a day that I can work. Mm-hmm. There's only one of me. I could teach other people my method, but then it's a management nightmare because I'm dealing with other people. And it doesn't matter how much I teach them. There's no guarantee that they're going to deliver it. They're not going to have my thought process because I can't teach that.
Yeah.
What is inherently me. So for coaches and consultants especially, you can't give somebody your brain, even if you train them in your method. So you max out at one-to-one work. Now, on the other side of that, afford one-to-one work with me. Maybe their business isn't ready for that. So not only that, that needs to be like number one, is that you max out on one-to-one work and you're trading hours for dollars. Number two, you are ignoring or denying a segment of the population that may really want to work with you but cannot otherwise afford to. Mm-hmm. Now, none of us were born with awesome businesses. We didn't come out of the womb with those. I think it does us all good to take one step back and sometimes three steps and remember what it was like when you had to decide what auto for your business. And
Mhm.
everybody was using Infusionsoft, and you were like, oh my God, I cannot spend $299 a month on this. I don't even have a
Yeah.
client yet. Or this, that, it's going to be $5,000 to just design a basic 5-page website. I can't afford that right now. And then people stay stuck there.
Yep.
I don't want people to stay stuck. And I don't want to work with everybody either. But I don't, as a single mom, I fed my kids a whole lot more macaroni and cheese and ramen noodles than I'm ever willing to admit. But I busted my butt. I worked, I went to college, and I did the best that I could do. So I try to always keep that in my mind when it comes to business, that maybe people that want to work with me are in the macaroni and cheese and ramen noodle stage, and
Mhm.
they're not at filet mignon and Dom Perignon yet. But if I can still serve them in a way that's meaningful to them, I'm just strengthening my tribe and strengthening my, relationship. So a membership also provides you to maybe dilute the cost some and provide the content, because you're working once, but you're serving multiple people at the same time. So
Mhm.
those are like my top two right there, is just what the membership does is it trading hours for dollars, creates an additional revenue stream in your business, and allows you to serve people who may not be ready to work with you at your highest level yet.
Yeah. And you have, we'll hit this again later, but you have a done for you membership site where you can
Yeah.
pick between 6 different templates and
Mm-hmm.
put it, basically it's a do it yourself kind of thing. You can put it all together.
Right. Except I do all the tech. Like my team does all of the tech for you. So all of
Mm-hmm.
the traumatic stuff, connecting your autoresponder, setting up your lead generation and stuff, we do all of that part. Connect it to your payment gateway, and then provide a tutorial library for everything else. So if even if you're not super tech savvy, it's a way through the door
Mm-hmm.
that maybe would keep people frozen otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm going to be putting that as part of the bonus for my course that's coming up in September.
Yeah, awesome.
So
I can't wait.
yeah, it's going to be a
I
phenomenal
have to take
thing.
a drink.
So what's that?
I had to take a drink. Excuse me.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. It, at it and what's in there? Is that a margarita for celebration or?
No,
Oh, we can't
no.
tell. Okay, we won't say.
It's my daily. I'll just confess.
Sure it is. There's nothing else in there but Coca-Cola.
Not a, not a thing, and it's like low carb and low sodium, because between all, in the midst of all of this testing, it was like, we need you to change your entire life right now. Don't.
Yeah.
Like there's like this whole 8.5 don't on
Yeah.
it. Eliminate, cut out, don't
Yep.
use,
Yep.
avoid. I was like, oh my God, it's like the most negative piece of paper in the history of the world.
Oh man, isn't
It's
it?
awful. Yeah, so that's my little one soda a day with low sodium and no aspartame. It's really a
Yeah,
pathetic comment on my life. That's if
that,
that's my celebration.
that's what makes it so healthy. Low sodium.
Yeah,
I
we
love it.
ignore the fact that it will rot a tooth in a cup in 3 days.
Yeah, who cares?
Crazy.
You got one. You're not abusing it, so yeah. Um, yeah, that's so funny. That's so funny. After the news today, I thought you'd probably be celebrating. You'd be adding something to that Coca-Cola. Uh,
No,
now that sounds interesting.
not today.
After,
Maybe.
so with the membership site, so that's out there, and how did you get? So we know you were a single mom, and you fed mac and cheese and that, and so how did you go from, because membership sites were not the thing back then.
Right.
They're
Right. Okay.
probably
Well,
just building a website. And I remember for my retail store that I had for 13 years, I I decided I was going to build a or have a website built for me because I couldn't build a website back then. It was like all this intricate stuff,
right.
and that's going back to like in the 90s. And I paid
Video
somebody like
Cities.
10 grand
Yeah.
to put this thing together because there was really no, you know, do it done for you program that was out there.
Right. Oh yeah. I remember those.
Yeah. So how did
We
you go
both just dated ourselves.
so you built websites before? That's what your main
Yeah.
thing
Well,
was?
actually, no. I fell into the whole tech thing completely by accident. I'm a school teacher and a marriage and family therapist. So I had left those jobs. I'm going to give you like the nutshell version. I had left those jobs because you carry so much luggage as
Mm.
a school teacher. You have administration, you got staff, you've got kids, you've got parents, the state, 528 regulatory bodies to answer to. It sucked all of the joy out of teaching. I love to teach. I just don't like to teach in that system. So out of there I
Mhm.
went. Counseling was the same very much because I worked in corrections. So with incarcerated adult males, there are some real horror stories on both sides of that fence. um, I went and became the marketing director at a Remax franchise.
Oh,
And one day,
wow.
and yeah, it was
What a
awesome,
change.
great job. Yeah. But yeah, we did really great in a very down market. We closed the third quarter with $39 million in sales, and when the market, I was like, but one day the real estate commission showed up with some police officers and took out in handcuffs, and she had been embezzling trust funds, insurance fraud. It was ugly, and none of us knew anything about it. Like that was how we found out. And I was like, okay, no more bosses. I'm done. I've had it.
Mhm.
And I had already left the job, that I spent 8 years and $80,000 training for in college. So one of the agents, real estate agents from across the lake, called and said, "Hey, I'm sorry about what happened. I've been trying to hire you. I was just waiting for you, but my position in marketing is full. But I need a website and I need a social media manager. Are you interested?" Why, yes, I am. Thank you so much. And I drastically underquoted the work and the website. And before the end of that week, and I was like, I'm never going to be able to pay my bills with this money. And by the end of the week, another agent called, "Hey, this client told me that you were working for them, and I also need a website and a social media manager." And they were on the other side in a slightly different market. And I was like, okay, awesome. And I'm thinking, yeah, I'm getting closer. And before you know it, I had 8 social media management real estate clients at, just under $1,000 a month. And I definitely was not making that at Remax. I was not making that at Remax, but I didn't understand the concept of membership even then. It wasn't until years later that, because for me, it was the cycle that a lot of us get trapped in: find client, work for client, get paid by client, start over next month at zero.
Yep.
Find client, work for client, get paid by client, start over next month at zero. So I had kind of been following a guy named Ryan Lee for a long time.
Mhm.
And I can't remember what it was or why, but I ended up getting a speed call with him, a speed coaching call. And what I had struggled with in my business by this point for like 4 years, it took him less than 5 minutes to diagnose that and tell me what to do to fix it. So I didn't know how to turn tech into a membership. So he said, "Hey, listen, there's this service called WP Curve, and they do a subscription based on demand website support service. That is what you should be doing because they're about to get bought, blah, 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 whatever." And I got off the phone with him. I thought it was the dumbest idea that I ever heard. And I'm not telling you anything that I haven't told him in his face. I mean, I told him to his face.
Yeah.
I thought that was the dumbest idea. So I walked around just raising Cain all afternoon. And my husband says, don't you pay that guy for advice? I was like, I do. He said, well, you ignore me for free. So if you're going to pay him, you should at least listen. So the very next morning, I got up and I built Website Rescue. And I went to Freedom Fest that week, and I sold my first 2 clients that week. It was $5,000 in a day. I had never, ever done that before. And I was just over the moon at this terrible idea that he had. And here we are 5 years later, and that's still going strong. So, and it has grown into something. That's the beautiful thing I think about memberships. When you start, you have a vision and you have a strategy, not just a bunch of tactics that you cobble together, but an actual business strategy. And what happens over time is that when it's right, that evolves in ways that they're just beautifully unexpected and you never could have predicted. So that's kind of how I fell into memberships. And then over time, Ryan recommended me to some people, and I actually started building memberships, a lot of them. And the entrepreneurs and business owners that I worked with, I just started keeping really good track of my clients. Who did what worked, what flopped. I have to this very minute, I have a spreadsheet in my Google Drive of repeated questions, and there's even a column in there that says epic failures, and all of those are listed out, theirs and mine. And that's kind of how the membership method was born, which is the method that I use with my one-on-one clients. Just a whole lot of observation, question asking, talking to people, falling on my face, scraping my knees. I'm pretty sure I broke something, but yeah, that's how it is. So when I work with people now, my job, I think the way that I see it is to enhance them so that I've already made all of these mistakes, so I can kind of walk in front like a big pillow to keep them from bumping into those hard, horrible things that upset us all so much.
You said the most beautiful thing in the world is that you took note of what others' mistakes that they've made, as well as your own, and and the successes too. Yeah. So many people go into building websites and they're just so fixated on that one thing, the one way, the one software, the one, and then they ask you a few questions to build your website, and then they're one and done.
Yeah.
And you move on. And that was so magical when you just said that. That's like my biggest aha takeaway here. Because I do the same thing, as I note all the different mistakes. Because early on, when you're an entrepreneur and you're thinking, you're having a business, a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, and the biggest takeaway that I ever had was, I'm going to learn from everybody else's mistakes. Mm-hmm. So I asked those questions of people. It's like, oh, so if you could do it all again, what wouldn't you do? What things wouldn't you do in that? That's pretty crucial.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that we're all so guilty. I mean, the push in the market is look forward. One of the dumbest things I think I've ever heard is airplanes don't have rear view mirrors. Okay. Well, you're not in an airplane. You're running a business. And if there is no cycle of reflection, that feedback loop, I think we do ourselves a great disservice. Like if you can't, when I'm talking with prospects or just people in general, if they can't tell me, if I ask them, what do you think your biggest mistakes have been? If they can't start to answer that question within 10 or 15 seconds, I'm like, okay, that I put on my coaching list, that we need to get some feedback loops in place so that they become more aware of this constant cycle, knowing what the data is, driving insights from that data, and then using that to make data-driven decisions going forward so that we don't keep stubbing our toe on the same piece of furniture as we try to move forward in business. So yeah, I'm all into mistakes. Took me a while to learn not to do them.
And you know, the only thing that's constant is change. I mean, because there's going to be new software. That's how we I saw that you mentioned Thrive themes, and I was like, oh, I use Thrive themes, and it's like then I messaged you, and that's how our conversation started. And it's like, but that's just today.
Mm-hmm.
They may be gone tomorrow.
Right.
You know, WordPress will hopefully always be there, but there's no guarantee that WordPress is going to be there.
Right. Well, and you know, WordPress has that new editor coming out now.
Yeah.
That makes me want to stab out my eyeballs with a salad fork. I look at it and I'm like, oh God, I don't even know how to use this. I hear my friends are telling me this is the easiest thing ever. And I'm going, oh my God, I'm completely lost. I have to learn something new.
Yeah.
I bought something last week called Oxygen Builder. I'm going to try that out and learn it. But again, I'm going to go ahead and do that and fail with it. So if anybody comes to me and asks me, I can tell them, hey, yeah, this is okay. Or this is where you're going to hurt your foot on this for sure.
Yeah. But change is the only thing that's constant in this. And there's always going to be the next best thing. And I say this because for the longest time, I mean, 20 years, I don't know. Now I keep dating myself every time I have to add on another 10 years. All of a sudden I'm like, 30 years ago. No, that was 20 years ago. But the website was the all go-to thing. There was no Facebook. There was no, Instagram. There was no way of that aspect. Now it's like your website isn't necessarily the go-to thing. It's a good little kind of path or something. And, and even websites, you had to have a 5-page website, and then you had to have, and it's like everybody had their little tricks of the trade, supposedly. That was going to be the latest, greatest thing. And now we're back to, if you have a 1-page website, you're probably better off with a good contact or a good, list builder on there versus having 5 pages of about me and me stuff.
Well, you know what? Let's talk about me. Because I think your about me section is critical.
Mm-hmm.
Except that what we lose sight of cares. Like nobody cares about you. The higher level for a website that truly converts, and a website that is because ideally your website should be your least expensive, hardest working employee. And it should be selling for you 24/7. So when you structure your about page, look at it through the lens about what you can do for them. Talk about their problems on your about page. Make it about them and how you can serve them, how you can help them, how you can elevate them. And, I had an email recently, I can't remember who it was from, but I'm not talking about like, oh, I helped blah, blah, blah reach this number of figures. I'm so sick of hearing about 6 and 7 figures. Like
build a 6-figure
what if
business.
You haven't made your first $100? Yeah. What if you haven't made your first $100 online yet?
Quick little thing. Every time I see those, all I think about is in Something About Mary, where he picks up the hitchhiker, and the hitchhiker says, those 7-minute abs? I'm going to do 6-minute abs, and I'm going to just make millions of dollars. And I'm like, yeah, because now the latest thing is, first it was like 5 figures. Well, 5 figures not enough. Now it's 6 figures. No, that's not enough. 7 figures. Pretty soon we're going to be like, make an 8-figure business
in 6 months.
Yeah. Or less, 30 days.
Yeah, because I haven't hit 8 figures yet. I don't intend to. It's not even one of my goals. That's not even something I want. So when we start thinking about these things, what do we really want? And Facebook does make it very easy for us to abbreviate everything. Like we don't, when we see, when somebody has passed away, we don't call that person anymore. We might maybe type in, sorry for your loss, but more and more, it's just clicking a frowny face. So we don't even have to pause to feel or share that grief with that person. We just, everything is like this. So I don't teach people to make a quick 6 or 7 figures. I teach them how to make the first 4 recurring figures and then turn that into 5 figures and then turn that into 6 figures. And the biggest question I actually ask, because I'm kind of ballsy about what I say to people, and I'll actually ask, oh, I want to make $15,000 a month. I'm like, you're still in a day job. Is that what you make in your day job? And they tell me it's almost delusional what we've done to ourselves in society. When you tell me that you need to replace $15,000 a month in revenue to be able to quit your job, what is your job that you're making that right now? And why do you want to leave that? Because, you got to get deeper into it. But for heaven's sakes, I know that I did not have 5-figure months when I was teaching school. I was really fortunate to have a 5-figure year, when I was teaching school. It's crazy what they pay teachers. But I think that even though the hype sounds so good, it might feel good to think about yourself in front of this ridiculously expensive car or house or whatever. Like when we move that back to think about what we really want, I mean, like in our hearts want, not the crap that Facebook tells us we're supposed to want, but it makes it so much easier to actually architect a high level strategy for recurring revenue that can get you there exponentially faster. Because I mean, if you think about it, for most entrepreneurs, especially just starting out, if you ask them if an extra $12,000 a year would change their lives, usually the answer is yes. So forget about 6 figures. We're talking about 12 grand. Forget about that. So back a step further. That comes down to $1,000 a month. $1,000. That is 10 people at $100 a month. Do you think you can find 10 people who will pay you $100 a month for what you have to offer them? Or 20 people that will pay you $50 a month? That's your extra $12,000 a year right there. Get them through the door and serve them at the very highest level. And trust me, those 10 people will turn to 20, will turn to 40, will turn to 80 if you serve them at the highest level. And as those numbers increase, so does your bank account. So if you start there nice and simple, I don't know that there's anybody that I would feel uncomfortable saying, yes, I can help you generate an extra recurring revenue in the next 6 weeks. And it sounds like small potatoes because there's so much hype, but you know what? It's real. You can reach out and touch that money in your bank account. It's real. It's not some fantasy that somebody rented a Lamborghini to take a picture in front of. It is for real. You can actually write a check to your mortgage company with what I'm telling you.
Yeah. And it always cracks me up because I'm going to tell you I haven't met one yet that doesn't, if they're making, let's just say 7 figures, most of them are reinvesting 6 figures or more to make that 7 figures.
Yeah.
Because they want to be able to say, I make 7 figures. I bring in 7 figures of, and that whole standing next to the jet or the Lamborghini or photoshopping into I'm like.
Exactly. I ask them what they keep.
Yeah.
Because that's the real measure
What's
of
in
how
your
well
pocket every month?
What's in your pocket? Yeah. What's in your pocket? How much credit card debt are you carrying? If you died tomorrow, would your wife and kids still have a place to live?
One that I asked that question, and obviously was not in a live interview. One that I asked that question, he was like, he was just apprehensive in answering. I'm like, well, where do you live? It's just you and I. Where do you live? He lives in his parents' basement.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If you're making 6 and 7 figures a year, even, Are you going to be living in your parents' basement?
God, I hope not.
I hope
My
not.
parents have a basement.
Unless you're the guy that their parents tried to kick him out on Long Island or whatever, and he
Oh
won.
yeah. How crazy was that?
Yeah.
Having to take your kid to court to make him move out of your house.
Yeah. That's in
Yeah.
his what? He was like mid-30s or something.
Yeah.
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 That's crazy.
Wow. But well, never mind. I won't even get into the parental responsibility discussion on that, because you remember I'm a school teacher.
Yeah.
Mom and dad were not following proper protocol at some point down the line, or how do you do that? Never mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could go down a whole rabbit hole right there.
Oh yeah, you can tell stories too. Just don't say the names.
No.
You don't want the lawsuits.
No.
Oh, and how long ago were you a teacher? That's got to be so many years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoy the act of teaching. That's why I'm excited about my webinars next week, and then I'm going to launch
Oh
my,
yeah. We got
and
to
I'm
talk about that too.
super pumped, because for the first time ever in a group format, I'm going to get to do what I love, and nobody's mom is going to call me and tell me that they can't read, or Susie, why did you send Susie to in-school suspension today? Or, I'm not going to have the family member of
That's not going to happen.
that have the family member of an offender calling or tracking me down in the grocery store or anything.
Yeah.
And it's I've been talking a lot actually with another educator in my space about the format for learning that we choose. And this is another really valuable piece with memberships, is so many of us forget about logistics. We overlook the simple things in our minds. We know how our membership works, and we project that onto the new member too. So our onboarding processes are weak, and we don't have enough of a hybrid, because I don't really want people to just learn from me. I am the bridge between knowing and doing. I know one of my businesses, bridging the gap between knowing and doing.
Mm-hmm.
You can know everything in the world about your audience, your craft, your system, but if you don't actually do your system and you don't go sell it to somebody, it's for naught. There's no benefit for anyone knowing. But when you do, you have the power to change the world, and that is, to me, amazing. So when I've bought an embarrassing number of online courses and trainings and certifications, and you name it, I got it. And I have often been upset about feeling left behind, or just falling through the cracks, because the membership site owner, who has all that beautiful pre-made content, throws you into a website with a bunch of videos and no instruction at all. None. Not even directions. So when you are onboarding your new members, make sure you have a process there that says, hey, this is where you're going to find this. This is the navigation. This is the biggest one. This is how you get help and support. Here's where the community is. We're going to meet here. And if that's on Facebook, fine. If it's in a forum or Slack channel, whatever, if they can box it, like my high-end clients can box me, that's it. And I call it their get out of jail free card. And if they send me a Voxer within 24 hours, we're on the phone, because I can't count on scheduling calls with people is a beautiful concept, but I can't count on my clients to have their crisis at 11 a.m. every Tuesday morning.
Right.
So I don't lock my coaching clients into that. I don't lock my website clients into that. When they have a crisis and they need me, they reach out to me, and I make myself available. So just shifting that dynamic brings so much more value into your membership. I myself am going to teach my program as a hybrid. So there will be some pre-recorded content, but we'll work in 2-week sprints. So week 1 will be a live training session that'll be 60 to 90 minutes. Week 2 will be support for the training session that we just covered. Support and implementation. What can I do for you? How can I help you? What are your questions? Where are your challenges? Whatever that happens to be. So the week 2, I've had a lot of people tell me, oh, you should limit those to 60 minutes. Well, you guys, my clients might not be able to ask all their questions in 60 minutes. And what if I get hung up explaining the meaning of life, or talking about the Galapagos Islands,
Right.
and then I haven't gotten to Susie's. Susie's just a name I like to use. It doesn't really refer to anyone. Let me give my disclaimer. Susie is a fictitious name, but if Susie still needs help, or maybe than Susie, and Betty needs more support and more hand holding it, so
Right.
I can't it's the stuff that you can't predict, that if you sit back and you think about every crappy experience you've ever had in an online course, work the solution to that into what you're creating and what you're doing.
Yeah.
And your members will love you, and they'll talk about it. They will tell 2 friends at least.
And so what do you suggest? Well, here, so can you talk through more of that? What the webinar in that? Isn't it a webinar? The first,
Yeah.
the link.
Yeah,
Right? Okay. I popped the link up there, but I'll do that again.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
tell us about the webinar.
You guys are going to laugh so much. Like almost my entire business lives like this. It's like notebook paper. So,
well, you at least keeping the lines. Mine is like all over.
Guilty school teacher. That's my school teacher stuff. But we're going to actually cover what I call the 7 deadly sins of membership first. The places that people get hung up, or the things that really create conflict for them. And then we're going to go through what my own method. I'm actually going to walk through my signature system, which is the pillars of recurring revenue. And those are reach, relationship, retention, and reiteration. And if you want, I can a diagram for that, and I'll pop it whenever I see this. I'll pop it in the comments, or give you a
Nice.
your people can download, and they won't have to you don't have to give up your email address. You can just have it. And but the things that go into the reach phase, that when you have done the right things to get your marketing dialed in, to get people giving you their email address on a very regular automated basis, and then something happens behind that so that it builds, and then you bring them into your community. I think everybody should have a free community on Facebook or somewhere. Mm-hmm. Bring them into your community and start building the relationship. So, reach is mostly, it's us telegraphing until they come into our circle, and then it becomes communication and not just, television. And then retention, obviously, is critically important and very frequently overlooked. It costs to get one new member than it does to keep the ones you already have. So that's the deal. And then the phase that I call reiteration, and that we briefly touched on that a little bit ago, the feedback loops. That every 90 days, well, about 75 days, because you need some planning time, look at the data. I have like a sheet. So look at the data. Find out what metrics matter to you first. I don't care how many Facebook likes you have on your fan page. It does not matter. You cannot write a check to your mortgage company with Facebook likes. So it doesn't matter. List size is a little bit of a metric. List engagement is a much better metric to measure. So tracking your open rates over time, tracking your new subscribers over time, understanding what those metrics are, addressing the nuance, because not everybody's business is the same. No 2 memberships are really the same, even when they're in the same niche. There's nuance to everything. So what might be fantastic for somebody who's a fit pro that does exercise and things like that may not necessarily be effective for somebody who's in nutrition, even though they're both still in health. Like I have chiropractic clients with memberships, and I would never, ever tell them to do the same thing that I would say to a multi-level marketer. who's trying to put together training programs for her downline. Totally different animals. It's all under the same umbrella, but they don't get wet in the same way. So, those types of things. And that's basically it. We're going to cover those pillars and some action steps that people can take in each and every one of those phases of the needle now. So no matter what, obviously I don't know why people try to hide this and that it's a free masterclass. It absolutely is. I am going to try to sell you something because that's how business works. So, the people who lie about that or try to keep it a big secret, I'm like, I just don't get it. I'm coming to this because I want to buy from you. That's why I show up for things, so whether or not an individual chooses to participate in the program, they will walk away completely able to strategize and take action and go and start moving the needle in that direction. If they're looking to get a membership or an online course into the universe. And that's it. That's my whole goal. If they come, and they leave feeling ready to take action and empowered to stand on their own 2 feet to do it, then my job is done.
Yeah. And you've done it. So it's not like you're making this up and
right.
You've lived the dream. So you're spreading wealth is what you're doing. That's why I love you so much. I mean, you're genuine, and it's like you just so and there you go.
I'm scared of that, interestingly enough, that it worries me when I do stuff like this off the cuff. As a rule, if it had been anybody, I'm so comfortable with you. If it had been anybody other than you who asked me to do this and didn't send
me you're talking about this interview.
A list of questions beforehand so that I could be prepared.
Yeah.
I would have done it because I just don't do that. Because, oh my God, what if I say the wrong thing? And oh my God, I'm 50 and I'm old and I'm not as thin as blah, blah, blah. All of these hangups that we all have them. I actually feel like I just lost 10 pounds just saying that out loud, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, we, all of the fear that stands in between us and the right thing is, and one of those for me is just talking off the cuff because I never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and there's that's part of the thing that I teach also, and that's going to be part of my course is doing how to do Facebook lives or do lives on Instagram or wherever you're going to do them, because there is a little bit of an art to an interview, and the sad thing is it's called a conversation.
Well, we always have good conversations. Yes, I wasn't worried.
Oh my gosh. And it's I know we're talking membership sites, but I just, with the last few days, I've done so many different interviews with all the great experts that are part of my course. A little plug in there, right? But it's always surprising. They all say the same thing and they're like, oh, it was so much fun. It was so much. And I'm like, you know what? I tell everybody, just act like you're talking to your mom.
Yeah.
So many times we pick up the phone. Well, nobody picks up the phone anymore, right? No, we text, we do all this stuff. But to really do it, and you're a great guest, and you have lots to tell, and it's just have a conversation. That's the easiest way. And then it's like, oh, how do I do that? So then we have to practice.
Can I tell you something about your course? I love the model that you're doing and bringing, because that was another thing I wanted to touch on. When you're selling your membership, do not bonuses in your membership. Mm-hmm. When I see the hype, the total value of this is $39,000 and I'm going to sell it to you today for $497. What the heck is that? It's like I got to check my IQ at the door to even make that work. But I think that when the model that you're putting together, I don't think I've seen it before actually. And bringing experts together to have your core program and augmenting that to really ramp up the client's opportunity to succeed so that they don't have to Google anything. It's just pick it up. I think that's a great idea.
And
I'm a little bit jealous that you thought of that first.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I'm the first one to do it overall, but it was something that, and how I brought it together was I just started thinking to myself, what would I have liked to had in the beginning? And I just thought, okay, I had this baggage. So then I was like, okay, I know Michael. Michael helps people get rid of all their baggage.
Yeah.
So now we got a clean slate. Or you're a teacher. We have a clean blackboard. Yeah. Did you have blackboards back then?
Yep.
Okay. Well, whiteboards. Now it's like a touch screen or something that they put. I don't know, but they had it. So we're gonna swipe that. Now we got a clean blackboard that we can start fresh on. How great is that? And then we have Sinai that comes in, and she's going to help them really define and laser focus their niche, which is the other thing that I struggled with. Pretty much every coach struggles with at the beginning. And then we're going to have we got your membership website. That's going to eliminate that whole hurdle. It's like, what do I do? How do I, and so then they can come to you and putting all that into a package, and then myself, and I'm always like, okay, and then I'm in there too. But it's like, yeah, I'm going to teach you all the good stuff, how to get yourself out there and how to do it. And I love free things out there like Canva and all that stuff. And I beat that into your head because it's like, you don't have to invest a ton of money to make money, but let's make money before we reinvest into it. Yeah, once you make 5-6 figures a month or something, now stick some money into even 4 figures a month extra. Then you can stick that, if that's play money to you, then let's play with it and put it into advertising and things like that, and then ramp up your business like that.
And then when you get really serious about it, take those 5 figures and start putting them into real estate.
Yeah.
And
because it's not an end all. You're not going to have the membership site and then, I'm just going to sit back and watch everything just happen.
Yep. Absolutely.
Multiple streams of income, because then the next time we get a 2007 and 2008, and it's going to happen.
Yep.
It's going to happen.
Sooner or later.
You're like, I'm okay because this is still strong over here and this isn't,
Yeah, because I took the time to devote to this, and this, and these things are in place now.
Yeah.
So it's
overall it's a process.
Yeah, it absolutely is. But it, like I said, beautifully unexpected consequences sometimes. It is a process, and we learn and we get ahead and we take as long as we're taking more steps forward than we're taking back. I mean, to me that's a win.
Yeah.
To me that's a win.
Yeah.
So.
I got to put your webinar back up there. And when is that?
It is Wednesday, August the 22nd, 1 week from today at 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And I'm going to go ahead and, I've been standing on the pulpit of done is better than perfect through this entire thing. Move the needle. My page is complete. I don't know if my thank you page is connected, but by God, you'll get in the webinar and you'll get the email. I'll send you everything else. So it's just, I'm leading by example. Done is better than.
That's all it takes, though.
Yeah.
Way to contact you. And if that didn't, that's like, don't let obstacles get in your way. If that didn't work, here's my email address.
Absolutely.
It's like there's a way to get signed up, and otherwise go through another website and all that good stuff. But thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me so much. The time just flew by. I was worried. I was like, oh my God, what are we going to talk about for an hour?
You obviously have never watched me.
I have.
Can talk forever.
Okay, that's good.
Don't we do that? I
appreciate you having me, Dave. Thank you so much, and I look forward to helping you support your clients in September.
Thank you so much for coming on. Awesome. For everybody else, I'll see you in a couple of hours. Or an hour and a half from now. I got Molly Peebles on there, so stay tuned for that. But thanks, Pam, for coming on.
So much. Bye.
Bye.